Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to FTB Interactions. So, since the last episode, I've been on here for a little bit. Actually just getting some machines prepped and stuff, and getting some stuff started situating things, but I wanted to go ahead and get into what we're going to be doing this episode, which I'm excited because now we kind of hit, like, there's a certain point in the pack where you're getting ready to go into space, and it's like, ugh. Like, it just kind of dragged a little bit for me, and we're actually entering a bit more of an exciting era of the pack. So it's like, oh yeah, I'm like excited to get back on here. Because we are, we've gotten to space, we've got what we needed, we can start automating things and moving into AE2. Whereas before it was kind of like a lot of like just manual building machines and stuff, especially since the Super Factory Manager stuff didn't pan out as well as I would have liked it to. Due to adding a couple machines and then it messing everything up and all that. So anyways, really excited to get back on here. And you can see in here, I've started just doing some situating. This whole floor is going to change. But I did push back the power release oven. I haven't got it all plugged up. We're going to be plugging that up soon because we're going to be doing some automation. Basically, we have some fluids we have to automate. It's going to be our first objectives as we move into AE2. And you can see I've pushed this up, and this stuff here is about to get moved, and actually it's going to be lined up right over here with different stuff from the tree farm. We also have to add more stuff to the tree farm here soon. But anyways, I've got a chest here. This is stuff I've been putting together. This is the 32 thermal evaporation blocks that I showed you last episode. We also have a few steam turbines. I'm actually not for sure if we're going to use all of these, but I went ahead and made 3 because we can. We're going to use steam here at first for some of our automation, and then we're going to move into new power before too long. We also have an advanced fluid solidifier, 2 advanced chemical reactors, and an advanced electrolyzer, because we're actually going to have a dedicated line for a lot of our fluids. Not all of our fluids are going to have dedicated lines, but a lot of them are. And the one that we're going to be setting up today is going to be a completely dedicated line that produces it. So, and we also have to automate our polyethylene. This is field now. We have to automate our polyethylene here soon. So, but what we're going to do is let's actually grab these thermal evaporation blocks first. And the first thing that we're going to be working on is we're going to be working on the mekanism thermal evaporation multi-block. And we're going to need 3 valves. We're going to need 1 for water input, 1 for brine output, and 1 for heat. So let's go ahead and get 3 of these. And I may have to make more of these thermal blocks. If I have to, that's fine. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We also need a thermal evaporation controller. I'm going to need 1 thing of structural glass. And what I'm actually going to do is mineral resin. We're not using that stuff that much. I'm actually going to break this off because we're going to start moving away from the dynamic tanks because they're actually producing quite a bit of lag on the server. So I'm going to start dismantling those, and we're actually going to be going with more compact liquid storage as we move forward. So anyways, there's our thermal evaporation controller. Now there is also, there's a quest here for the stellar alloy ingot, which we did complete. We get 4 diploid polylattice crystals, which is basically fluix, some kind of fluix crystal there. And then we've got mob soup from Pam's Harvestcraft. But anyways, what I was going to show you is in here under technology, there's actually a quest here, Getting Salty. And Aquaman needs your help to restore the world's salt levels. That's actually what we're working on doing at the moment. And we've actually completed this quest, but first they want us to get a heater. And resistive heater or fuel. Okay. Whenever I first looked at that quest, I only saw the resistive heater, and I was like, man, that's not the heater that I want to go with. So I'm going to have to make like both of them. But no, we are actually going to go with the fuel wood heater. Resistive heater is nice. Basically, we need some kind of heat production. Now, with default mechanism, you can actually do solar panels. I've done those before. You can put those on top of your thermal evaporation controllers, and then you get a biome-based heat generation with the thermal tower. But of course, living in the snow biome, we don't actually have a lot of biome heat. But it's really good if you set it up in like a desert or something like that, and then, move it to your base one way or another. But this pack, you actually can't make the solar panels. You have to go with the heaters. And so we're actually going to go with the fuel wood heater. Now the difference is the resistive heater basically just eats power to generate heat. And you can pretty much just pump in massive amounts of power to generate massive amounts of heat. The fuel wood heater actually burns stuff, burns combustibles. And that's what I want to go with. We have a plethora of combustible items. So we're going to need a lithium battery. And we're actually going to be automating lithium soon as well. Because I don't guess I have any lithium actually. I've been making this stuff just as we need it. Yeah, clay dust. Okay. Gonna need 26 clay dust. So I was originally thinking about pulling some of the machines out of here so I didn't have to craft as many. But I made the MV stuff. It's really not expensive at this point. And I just whipped that stuff up, and I wanted to keep all this stuff as is for right now. Now, before too long, this whole little area is going to be gone. So just a heads up. But for right now, I don't want to remove it in truth. So, all right, we'll get the electrolyzer running, making us that lithium that we need. Now, in addition, I actually think most of the rest of the stuff I've actually got. Yeah, these are coke oven bricks, and I know I've got some. I just have to figure out where I put them. That's the problem. Because actually, between episodes, I was going to sort stuff, but then I didn't. And basically, whenever I go out exploring, I end up getting a bunch of chests, and then they just kind of pile up on me. There's just so much stuff, and I need aid too. Of course, this pack, you don't have a drawer system, so caches only take you so far, unless we just do basically the equivalent of a drawer system with caches, which you can do. It's not really all that difficult. Item conduits with an input chest. But we just haven't, so I've got just a bunch of junk everywhere. Yeah, I thought I saw some coke oven bricks, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I was actually looking at this. Okay. Easy enough. And our lithium should be done, I should think. There's our 2 lithium. And then we just need the battery hull, which I think I've got that stuff made up. Okay, there we go. And we'll get that crafted up. Boom. Okay. And now we can get our fuel wood heater. Task complete, quest complete. There we go. And we get 4 basic thermodynamic conductors, which are for moving heat. And then we also get another fluid transfer node. And then we need to get a bucket of brine. Okay, so now what we're going to do, now that we've got that stuff, we're going to need one other thing real quick. And that's basically just in here. I'm going to need to get, let's see, some item conduits. And, well, the only thing is, I don't know. I actually got thermodynamic conductors in here too. I'll just grab those in case I need them. I won't, but I guess in case I need them. Let me grab these. Let me grab both of these. We'll figure out what we need once we get over there. And I'm actually not for sure. Originally, I was thinking about moving over water from this aqueous accumulator that's right there. But I'm also not sure if it's going to keep up. I mean, right now it's only using 2 millibuckets, but this thing can eat through quite a bit of water because it's like a 10-to-1 conversion rate. But what we're going to do is we're just going to build this out. I'm going to need more thermal evaporation blocks. But kind of what I'm thinking is we're going to have a valve that sits right there. I'm not going to plug up the heat and stuff just yet. And then we could just run the conduits over and pump water into this valve. Is what I was thinking. So we're going to have this set up right here, and I'm actually going to put the rest of it, it's going to be sitting up along this wall, which we'll get that set up here in a minute, once we start producing some brine. Because remember that what we're doing right now is we're actually going to make a processing line that basically automates hydrochloric acid. Now, it'll also produce salt and some other fluids. Those will back up because we're not going to have like super dense storage for the hydrochloric acid. So if we need salt, and eventually what I'll probably do is plug it up so that our AE system can pull salt from the system, because this will be the only system I think that we'll need for salt. If we need to speed it up long term, we can, but I don't think it's going to be necessary. So, but I am going to need actually a lot more thermal evaporation blocks. I'm definitely going to need more. So let me pop down here and grab our steel. Should have brought some more iron down here with me, but this stuff, I keep telling myself we're going to automate it at some point and actually start doing a better system, quote unquote, for steel. But honestly, it's just not necessary. It's really, really not, because it doesn't take that system all that, I don't know why I came over here. It doesn't take that system all that long to run through and make like 2 stacks, because I got two furnaces. It doesn't take it very long to make, I'm just going to do a half stack for now. To do 2 stacks of steel, it really doesn't take all that long. It really doesn't. Well, actually, I probably need more than that, because it's 8 per layer. Yeah. Let me do a full stack of thermal evaporation blocks. I mean, if nothing else, we're going to have more of this later on. More of these, so don't necessarily need that many, but we're going to go with it. And I'm pretty sure this is all built the same way as it used to be. I haven't looked up to see if there's any changes. This multi-block went through a lot of changes during a period of its life. From name changes, to setup changes, to adding the heaters, which used to not even be a thing. And now you can heat it. I don't know, I liked it more. Before the heaters were added, was a period of time when I actually liked mekanism. I don't really like mekanism anymore, because it's pretty much plug and play now. Whereas used to it was a little bit more to it. It was a little bit more substance, you know. Now it's very, very plug and play as far as a mod goes. Plus it's not very good on performance, which is kind of a bummer. But bronze frames, oh wait, but it's two steel plates per. So let me throw these back in. That's going to make a half stack. Yeah. I probably need to make more, but we'll see where we get to. Okay, so we're going to need to make a bunch of these now. And I may have to make some more bronze. If I do, that's okay. But I'm going to get all this stuff going. That's, yeah, it should be enough. Enough bronze, I think. But like, I'm so excited to start into AE2 within this pack, because we need it. We definitely need it, because by the time, now that we're starting to hit into HV a little bit, and we'll be hitting HV a lot more here soon, it's so cumbersome to craft things by hand at this point. It's very, very cumbersome, but it's also not reasonable, with this really not working like we wanted it to. It's not all that reasonable to too much in the way of automation, except for like dedicated processing lines. Like we have our ore processing line, which works great. That's super helpful, but it's just not reasonable to do all the rest of this stuff. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and throw in these steel plates into there, and this stuff. The worst part is making the rods, actually. But what we're going to be making is bronze frames. Dump those into there, get that crafting. It's going to take a little while, so I'll be back once we're done crafting all this stuff up. Okay, so this is crafting away the last bit of these. And what I'm thinking is, I don't know if we want to go for minimum size. If we're going for minimum size, then I think I've made too many of these. I think it's like 3 tall and then the bottom and the top. I think that's minimum size, but I might actually go for minimum size. Let's see. Let's build that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another valve right here. This one's going to be for heat. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set up our... well, let me go grab my crescent wrench real quick, because I don't actually want that item duct. I want it to go through the drawer and not pump directly into the fuel wood heater, I think. Even though we could do that and it would be fine. But what we're going to do is we're going to set up our fuel wood heater. Oh, let's put it setting right there. And let's break off that connection. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have thermodynamic conductors that basically just pull out right there. It's going to plug into that valve, which we'll do that here in just a second. We'll configure all of this. And then we're going to put one valve over here, which is going to be our output on this. And then we'll bring this up another layer. And let me go grab the rest of those. And I think what we'll do is we'll just build it as much as I've got thermal evaporation blocks. Maybe. I don't know. That's gonna be way taller than what I need. But the taller it is, the more heat and liquids it can accept and change over. But it's actually not really necessary for our setup because it's not like, especially being on a server, we don't actually need just a massive amount of this stuff. Yeah, I think we're just gonna go for like minimum size, which will be like that. And then thermal evaporation block goes there. And it's incomplete. What's it missing? Okay, no, I derped. I did a total derp. It has to be a 4x4. Because I only save space for a 3x3. I mean, I could shift all of this. But that's not really what I want to do. Or I could just shift this over. And that would give me space for the 4x4. But it's also going to make things tighter than I really want them to be over here. What do I want to do? Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm going to do that. I'm going to shift this over. It's not going to hurt anything. So we'll do that. It's actually going to save us on item ducts there. And, yeah, give me just a second. Okay, I got that stuff all moved over. Let me dump my dolly back into there. And that's, yeah, I might have to make some more of those. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. So, we're going to go 4x4, not 3x3. It's been a little while since I've made one of these, so excuse my derpage. And then we're going to have our valve setting there. We're going to have another valve. This one's actually, yeah, we'll just do it right here. Cut down the amount of conduits that we've got to run. And thermodynamic there. Fuel wood heater setting. Put it right there. And then thermal evaporation up. And then we're going to put our next valve setting there. And then, yeah, I'm going to need some more of these. Not many, but a few. I'm going to need 5 of them. So, no, I'm going to need 9 of them, in fact. And then the controller is going to set, we'll put it right, I think it has to be, let me check to make sure the body has to be 3. Okay, no, it's 1 to 16 layers. So we can actually just, we can pull this up. But you're going to make it too tall on the middle layer. That'll be plenty fine. Plenty fine. But that doesn't mean I'm going to need to drop this valve. We're just going to go down by 1 on it. This stuff's not going to be visible anyways back here, so we'll just do that. And then what we're going to do is thermal evaporation blocks like this. 1 block setting, we'll put it there, and then we're going to put our controller setting right there. And it still says incomplete. Okay. Okay, we're just going to try to put them on the corners, and yeah, there we go. Now it's formed. You can see the light lit up on that, and it's starting to build up heat. So it basically just has to be a big box now. That's what it does. It was so much, I still think it was so much better when it had the solar panels on top, and you had to build it in the desert. These heaters. But anyways, you can see the temperature starting to fluctuate. It looks like it's going down right now. I'm assuming that the sun is probably starting to set. Yeah, it's starting to go down. It's going to be hottest when the sun is directly above. But we're not actually looking too much towards the temperature of the weather and the temperature of the biome. But if you are going with the solar panel method, which of course you're not going to be in this pack, but just bear in mind that it's not going to run during the night because it's not going to have the required temperature to run. But anyways, what we're going to do now is we're going to just toss down one item conduit, and this is basically just going to pump coal coke into this. I think coal coke is going to be a good combustible. Now I'm not going to start extracting that just yet, because what I need to do is we've got this valve right here, and I should just be able to run this over, and then let me grab our ender fluid conduits, and we're just going to run this over to there, and I'm hoping it's not too much water extraction. And then let me say that these sides, it can output, there we go. Yeah, it's going to drain it, but it's going to fill back up with water pretty consistently, so I'm thinking that this should stay filled up on water, because once this builds up on water, it's not actually going to, you can see it stores quite a bit, but once it does fill this up, it shouldn't be an issue. Oh, but it's not auto outputting to the top right now, which means all of this has stopped. Well, there we go. It got a little bit of water, so it's still running. Okay, and our boiler has actually, I'm not using this right this second, and I've got a bunch of steam stored up, so I'm actually going to stop this from extracting for a minute. And the reason being, I need that to build up so we can actually get this up to full temperature. When I was moving stuff around, I messed things up and slowed things down, so it's dropped on temperature, so I need to get everything back up, is what's going on here. But that's fine, because it gives it time to fill this up with water, because once this is filled up with water, it's not going to, it shouldn't have an issue staying filled with water. At least I don't think so. If it does, I'm just going to make a new aqueous accumulator and set it up over here, and we'll have a dedicated aqueous accumulator for this and a dedicated one for that, because it's kind of important that this doesn't run out, but I'm just going to see how this goes. So okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to say extract always active, and it can start up this fuel wood heater, which means that the temperature in this is going to start going up, and we're going to start producing some brine. And we're still going up on water, so everything's still good over here. That might change as this fills up, but then again, this is going to back up before too long. And how fast? Yeah, this is really slow about burning through this coal coke. And considering how fast we produce it and the fact that it's just getting voided, that'll be a-okay. Okay, so now that that stuff is in place, we are now producing brine. And I can actually grab a bucket here. I just got to empty all that out, but it's not really a rush. Let's do that, and boom, we got a quest completed. I'm just gonna, I can't dump that back in, but that's fine. So anyways, we completed this quest for salty water. We get a mold cylinder and salted caramel. And then what we're going to do is, brine actually does not have a lot of uses within this pack. You can take brine, gaseous brine's not used for anything, but brine, you can use it to make cryothium, pyrotheum, aerothium, and petrothium. We might end up just doing a dedicated setup for that, like a little bit of brine production, or we might later on, we might plug it into this. We'll see. But yeah, you can see this is already backed up at the moment. And this, it probably hasn't even burned through the first one yet. It will continue to burn through, but that's fine. It's not really a concern to us, in truth. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I guess I'm going to keep brine on hand. How much does it take to make like pyrotheum and stuff? Is it a lot? 500 millibuckets. That's not a lot. Brine production is super fast. So what we're probably going to do is just have this one dedicated for brine. The other uses for brine, we are going to set up a separate setup, I think. Or, I don't know, it might be the same setup. We'll see. But we're going to be using it to make salt right now. The other thing we can do is we can make liquid lithium, which then you can run it through the chemical reactor with a little bit of chlorine, and you get lithium chloride. And then this can be ran through the chemical reactor, and you get lithium dust and potassium chloride. So we are going to make a little setup for that later on. It might actually feed off this same brine system. This might actually be the only brine tower that we make, because, I mean, it generated, well, that's only 10,000 millibuckets. Not that much, but in truth, a lot of this stuff is going to back up, so it's actually probably enough. Probably. But what I want to do, and let me actually, I've got this thing filled up with water. Let me just dump all that into there, and then that into there and get that running. I wanted to empty out this portable tank because this is actually what we're going to be using for liquid storage. Because, I mean, just the hardened, that's 80,000 millibuckets. That's a lot of storage, actually. And, of course, these can be upgraded further, and you can enchant them and all that good stuff. So I think we'll be good. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put this... it can't auto-input. Okay, that's fine. What we're going to do then is we're just going to put pressurized fluid conduit here, and then our portable tank here, and then what we'll do is later on we'll plug it up with AE2. Some stuff we are going to use fluid cells, and we might use fluid cells for the brine for like deeper storage. But I don't know. I mean, this tank's going to be able to store a lot. And all we have to do is do a fluid storage bus on the bottom. There you go. You're all set. So, but it's going to start filling this up. You can see it's kind of drained this off now. It's actually eating through water at a pretty good rate. So I do think I'm going to do a dedicated aqueous accumulator, because I don't think that this one is going to be able to keep up. But I mean, it's filling it pretty quick. It really, really is. So, and there we... Oh, and I forgot I had this bucket. Whoops. Okay. Well, anyways, so we've got brine built up. And now what we're going to do is we're going to pump this brine into just a fluid solidifier with a ball mold. And we're going to start making salt. So this is where our machines that I made up, all of these machines over here, this is when they start coming into play. So fluid solidifier is the very first one. It's actually a very short processing line, but it's actually going to produce quite a few things. And then we can feed off of these, right? Yeah, actually, I guess I should have a dedicated aqueous accumulator, because I'm going to need water here in just a second anyways for this little system. So I guess I might as well have a dedicated line. And I'm actually kind of thinking about just having the machines lined up here. Kind of above the thermal plant. Or maybe on this side of it. Well, no, because I'm going to want to hide this, actually. Because I was actually thinking more of that for this, just to hide this away. So you walk in, there's basically the wall kind of runs around this a little bit. Okay, so I got what we need. Let's go ahead and just disconnect this. Make sure that way we've got enough power in this at all times. And this should still be the top, I should think. Yeah. Okay, so let me pop up out of here. And we're going to set up our aqueous accumulator. Well, there's the valve. I guess what I'm going to do, if we put the aqueous accumulator setting, like, say, right there. Of course, we could also do, like, a dedicated water system that just pumps in lots of water, but these on-site ones aren't too bad. Okay, so we got that there, and then we're just going to run our ender fluid conduit like that. We'll say insert. You can extract, always active. Okay, so that should be good. And then what we're going to do is, let's pop up here. Oh yeah, and this is what I was thinking about. Okay, let me do some thinking here really quick, because I want to figure out whereabouts I want to start plugging these machines up. Because, like, honestly, a part of me says put them right through here. Because basically what we're going to do is we're going to have the brine. It's going to go through and it's going to make salt. Salt's going to get added together in the chemical reactor to make salt water. Salt water is going to get electrolyzed, get chlorine, hydrogen, and sodium hydroxide. And then this stuff is going to go in and make, basically just put right back together. And it's going to make the hydrochloric acid. So you can see chlorine and hydrogen right there. Makes 1,000 millibuckets of hydrochloric acid. 4 processing lines, and we're going to have to feed off that, we're going to have to feed off that hydrogen. Yeah, actually, I'll tell you what, we're going to do that. We're going to put the fluid solidifier right there. So we're going to have these machines, and this is going to be kind of hidden down here. We're going to have the machines, and then we're going to have power that comes up above this. So these machines will just be kind of off on the side. And let me pop over here. Let me get a couple things. I'm going to need the wrench real quick. I'm also going to need some copper cables. None of this stuff is really all that high on power consumption. So maybe I just want to go with one line, maybe? I don't know. We're going to try 1 by 1, and we'll see how it goes. And then if I need to upgrade to a 2 by 2, or a 2 times, then we'll do so. But what I'm thinking is we're going to basically just run the cables over like that, and it's all going to fit in nicely, I think. And then we're going to have the turbines that set, or the turbine. Let me grab one of those, and let me dump off that. Let me get a GPS marker. It's basically going to be like a pretty compact little system that sits over here, but normally I don't care too much about making things compact, but this is actually going to end up being strangely compact. But let's go ahead and just shift right click on that advanced steam turbine, and we are just going to add this into our fluid transfer node. And I've got to figure out where that's plugged up to, but I know I want this plugged up. There we go. It's pumping steam over, and that should be producing some power now. There we go. It's produced power, and we've got copper cables plugged up. This should have power now. And what we're going to do is we're going to say auto out, and we're going to set the auto output to this side here. Let's actually put that there. And what we're going to do is we're going to drop this, which I know it's kind of a waste, but that's okay. If it still resets. I don't know if it... No, it does not reset. Awesome. Okay. Well, that works then. There was a time when that would actually reset and you'd lose everything, but of course at the end of the day all it is water and coal coke, so I'm actually not all that concerned about it. Let's do that. And then let's just pump this up. There we go. It's starting to fill this up with brine. And then we need our mold, which is just a ball mold, which I do have those right here. Or I have that one. I've only ever made the one, but we're going to be making more of these moving forward probably, because we're going to need them for some automation stuff. Different molds for dedicated stuff. Okay, so now it's producing salt. So yay. And then what we're going to do, the salt, I would like to probably stockpile this because we're going to be automating some food before long, and we will kind of want that. Plus, it looks like salt through the electrolyzer, we get sodium and chlorine. There's going to be some other uses for it. There's, well, that's hydrochloric acid, sodium bisulfate, rice dough. We'll need it to make our cheese. Yeah. So we're going to want to actually pull some of this stuff off. And so what I'm thinking actually is a cache for that. But we can actually do that in a second. It's actually not a big rush to pull that off. All we're going to do for that, because we're going to run some storage connections up over here later on. And so we're going to have one plugged up to this portable tank. And then we'll bring, of course, conduits can go in the same block space. We'll bring this over and put like a cache that sits right here that collects salt or something. Actually, it'll probably just sit right. Well, I guess it could sit right there, like right here. So whenever you walk in, you can access the salt if you want. Nah, I don't know. I'll figure out where we want it to go. It's actually not a big rush for that because we don't need the salt. We don't physically need the salt right now. Okay, so let me... I still don't have any space for this brine. Alright, well that's fine. So then what we want to do is chemical reactor. Let me just grab chemical reactors and the electrolyzer real quick. And so the chemical reactor, this is where we're going to need some more water input, which I'm probably just going to run our water that we've got going into the brine system. I'm going to run this over. But we're going to pump this into the chemical reactor, and you can see salt's going in. You just dumped a stack of salt. It's going to dump some more. That's fine if it does. And then I've got to run over... Well, I've got to run over this water, but... Okay, I guess what we're going to do is we're just going to run some conduits under the floor right here. You won't be able to see this anyways. Yeah, so we'll just do that. So, just to get this ran over. Boom, boom. And we're just going to plug this up. We're actually going to have it connected to the same aqueous accumulator. Now, to be fair, this one aqueous accumulator is probably not going to run this stuff non-stop, never-ending, you know. That I'm not concerned about. So, because we're going to have more than enough salt production and hydrochloric acid and all that stuff. So, I just want a nice little compact system for making the salt and the brine and all that good stuff. And so then what we're going to do is just say you can output, and there we go. That's dumping water. Okay, cool. And then I'm just going to replace that stone. Okay. So now if we pop over here, this should have water coming into it, or it will. And let's actually set this. We're going to click there, and we're going to say auto output. This has got to fill up with water. These things actually aren't the fastest about moving water, because we're just going with these, and it's got to fill up everything, but we'll go ahead and set that to extract. That should actually speed it up a bit more as far as moving that water. So now, if we take a look, this is starting to run now. You can see it's starting to build up with water. That's great. And then this, whenever it needs to make more salt, it makes more salt. And so that'll be good. And that's producing salt water. Okay, so now I was going to make conduits, but then I found these. We had made these a while back. So, okay, so now what we need to do is run this through the electrolyzer. So we'll just set that up right there. And no. And let me actually just break and replace this. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to set this to auto output fluids. The blue is fluids. And then we're going to set up the electrolyzer right there. And of course it doesn't have enough power. So yeah, I'm probably going to have to go with 2 times copper cables and do 2 steam turbines maybe. That might be for the best. Yeah, let's do that real quick. Because I've got one more machine that needs to get plugged up here, and... Oh, whoops. I didn't mean to pull that off. This pick's too fast. Alright, so there's that. That's why I made extra steam turbines, because I was like, well, how many am I going to need? I think 2 is going to be plenty, though. So we should be good in that regard. And I'm actually probably just going to plug up another GPS marker. So let's pop over here. And then shift right click. And that room should be getting all sorted here soon, because we're like ready to go now. Now that we've got... we're kind of moving into A2, it's like time to really start hammering out some of the space, because it looks horrible right now. Okay, so this should have plenty of power now. It's still got this, but that's because it ran out of power before, and it leaves that exclamation mark until it's finished a process. So there we go. So we produced some sodium hydroxide, and we produced chlorine and hydrogen. And so then what we're going to do is just right click there. We're going to say you auto output the fluids on this side. And we're going to set up our advanced chemical reactor there. It's pumping in the chlorine and the hydrogen, and it's starting to run, and it's making hydrochloric acid. So yay, that's done. And boom, there we go. There's 2 buckets, and so on. Okay, and then all we have to do is just pump this out to wherever it's going to go, right? And what I'm actually probably going to do is just pump it down, and we'll set up another tank here, which will be... the other tank, so we'll have a storage there that gets the that, and then we'll have another storage that gets the hydrochloric acid, another storage that has salt, and then we're going to have the sodium hydroxide dust, and this stuff Geopolymer thermalcrete. Oh yeah, we had to make this, didn't we? How were we making it before? We were doing... Actually, I think we were just doing the saltwater method, but yeah. So now we have like infinite of this stuff. And we can also run it and get sodium, oxygen, hydrogen there, which is actually pretty nice. We can epoxy resin, epichlorohydrin. Yeah. So what we'll probably do for now is stockpile this. Looks like, did it run out of power again? Or did this run out of steam? Uh-oh. This ran out of steam. Wow, that's crazy. Okay, so what we're going to do, I just have to turn this back on. That's not a biggie. But, yeah. So, yeah, that's totally, this should be totally backed up now. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to say always active and start running that stuff again. And a lot of times what I do in situations like this is I'll grab like a stack of coal coke and I'll just dump it in there. Sometimes I'll grab multiple stacks, but I think one stack should be fine. I think it's this one. That's this one. And I'll just dump it into there. Usually I don't have to do that, but whenever I mess stuff up, like move it around and everything, it kind of resets everything and messes up the little algorithm that's kicking away. So I have to like sort things out a little bit. But that's no problem. I'm actually probably going to move that import bus over to here, so it's a little bit easier if I need to get back here and do that. But so yeah, we're producing hydrochloric acid now, which is wonderful. And let me give this system a little bit of time to build back up, and I'll be back here in just a bit. Okay, this is back up and running. I mean, you can see everything's running just fine. There's no power issues now. We do have to deal with the sodium hydroxide. Now this is actually going to go into... and yeah, hydrochloric acid's building up. This is actually, the sodium hydroxide is actually going to go into a barrel, and we're going to put a void upgrade on it just so if something happens, we are going to start using that sodium hydroxide. You know, there's always that chance that we just don't need it and it backs up, and then it would back up this entire system. And it's kind of not the priority of the system, right? Making that sodium hydroxide. So what we'll do is after it fills up so much, it will void it, right? Now over here, you can see I did move these while I was waiting. I got these shifted over. Instead of using the item ducts, we're now using conduits. This is pumping in on the brown line. And over here, this is the chest where it imports. And I did move some things around, moved the node system over. It's all set up the exact same though. This is extracting on the green channel. And then right here, this is where the wood comes in. You can see it's also extracting on brown. So it can feed it over. The rest of these are all just inserting, and then I've got insert on a lower priority into the trash can, so anything else can get dumped into there. But yeah, so anyways, let's get ourselves I guess a barrel. Okay, so there's our barrel. I'm not going to worry about making the void upgrade right this second because it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while before it needs it, but I'll make it later. We've covered void upgrades and stuff before, so I don't feel like it's a concern. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this setting... Actually, what I'll probably do is have the two drawers. We'll probably have two barrels, one with a void upgrade, one without, right? Salt's not going to get a void upgrade. Because if we start voiding salt, that's basically just wasting materials, is what we would be doing at that point. So, but what we're going to do is... we'll just put... a barrel that sits right there, and then, yeah, and then just item conduit. Extract is always active, and you can insert. And there we go. Sodium hydroxide's building up there. And then we'll have salt right below it, and then what we'll do is, the only thing about putting it right below it is then, I still need to plug all this up with A2. I may not put it right below it because I'd like to be able to plug a storage bus up right there. Oh, but then I've got the hydrochloric acid too. Which right now I'm just going to let it back up in this machine, but we are going to add a thing for it. Yeah, what I'll probably do then, I don't know, I might move it, but I'm going to put it right here for right now. So we've got the sodium hydroxide, right? Sodium hydroxide, is that what this is? Yeah, sodium hydroxide dust going into there. And I might move it. I might set it up somewhere else. I don't know. I don't know yet. But for now, we're going to put it right there. So I might actually bring this around and... I don't know. I don't know. There's going to be stuff going everywhere. As we start moving into automation, there's just going to be materials going everywhere because there's so many materials in GregTech. So, but yeah. So, anyways, basically we just automated brine, sodium hydroxide, salt, hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid being the most important because as we start moving into applied energistics, we're kind of automating some of the very, very key things that we need to just really get into a lot of AE2 and making any of the printed engineering circuits, or well, the printed ones are easy. I was actually curious, this takes 10 seconds. And I'm sure that's true for all of these. It looks like it. Looks like that's going to be the case. Where's the silicon ones? Well, anyways, I can look at it here. Yeah, that's 10 seconds also. You can also do it here, and it's 10 seconds for 2, but we'll get into that later. But what we're going to need to do is make a bunch of printed silicon, printed other circuits, and then we run it with a little bit of hydrochloric acid. It's not much. It's not all that much. But having that automated, of course, we're going to be making a lot of these processors, so we might as well just get it, taken care of. It looks like it's 30 seconds to craft it. But we're going to be using this, of course, for a lot of AE2. Now, one thing I was curious about, I know I looked at them in the past, but I can't remember what they were. Certus Quartz logic processor copper cables. That's actually cheaper than I was expecting. It's not all that bad. And then the 4Ks are 3 and that and that and that. 64K is, yeah, okay. And then we need titanium for that. Okay, that's actually not that bad. I was expecting a lot worse. That's not terrible. And they're all 30 seconds, 16 AU per tick. That's cool. So yeah, but we're going to, of course, need that hydrochloric acid, and it's going to, eventually we're going to need a lot of it. So I think the next thing is we need to start getting wafers automated, I think. And I don't know if I want to go with the glowstone doped. There's a pretty good chance that's what we're going to end up going with. We're going to have to start stockpiling nitrogen, glowstone, silicon. And that is 600 or 480 EU per tick, though. But, of course, that's in the blast furnace. So we can... I don't know. That's actually probably going to be our next thing, though, is getting that silicon automated. Because and that might be what we do next episode. We'll see. Or we might do something else. There's a few other liquids that we're going to have to get automated. I know Fluix we're going to have to get automated, which actually isn't that bad. But this stuff, I think it's... yeah, this is basically Certus Quartz. And we're going to have to get into phytogenic insulator. Pure Fluix, yeah. We're going to have to get into the phytogenic insulator here soon, which is fine. But yeah, we'll continue on. I can't remember where, but I know some of that polyethylene stuff is in there somewhere. So we will start automating that. That's kind of why I was getting the coke oven moved, or the pyrolase oven moved, because we're going to be automating all of that stuff here soon, because we're going to be using a lot of it. I know. I just don't remember where I saw it. Maybe it was, yeah, right here. For making the ME glass cables, which we're going to need a lot of these. They're actually not that expensive, but we do need to get that polyethylene automated. You know, we've covered it before, but we're going to be just fully automating it and just letting it go here soon. Oxygen, ethylene. Yeah, we're not going to worry about the titanium tetrachloride part of things. So we're going to be getting that automated here soon as well. And so we'll jump into that here soon. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for this episode. It might be a little bit shorter of an episode, but yeah. So anyways, I'm going to end out this episode here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already. Stay updated with when new videos come out. Between this episode and next, there will probably be an actual floor in here and the walls starting to come up. But yeah, so anyways, I hope to see you guys next time. Until then, as always, do take care. Stay safe. I'll see you guys then.